So I'm hoping that I'm going to be seeing people in the Redesign with Prima group, and also on Facebook and on the Redesign with Prima page on Instagram. So we're going to try this again. A couple of weeks ago I had a go at this, and I'm using my iPad for Facebook, and I can see lots of people popping on Instagram, which is lovely. I will try and answer some comments, because Instagram, I didn't realise that once you've posted your live you can't go back and answer, so I will do my best. Say hello if you're there. I can see people coming live on Facebook. Now, the issue I had last time on Facebook was I didn't realise that I was being cropped and you couldn't see what I was doing top and bottom, so I've put the camera a bit further back. If you can't see what I'm doing, if you can't see this whole piece of furniture, please let me know on Facebook, but I think everyone else, you should be good. Okay, I'm Nikki, I'm from Gracie's House, I'm a brand ambassador for Redesign with Prima, and I'm based in the UK. We've seen lots of the new decoupage papers. I think you've probably seen an awful lot of the decoupage papers, so I decided I was going to do something different this week. Not that I don't love them, but I've run out of pieces to put them on right now, so I'm going to work with a transfer today. As I said, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pop a quick hello on Facebook, because sometimes it helps comments come through. Okay, so I've got Blossom Flight. We're going with a classic, guys. We're going with a classic. Blossom Flight. Love it. And this cabinet behind me is what we're going to add it to. Now, when I originally painted this, it was entirely this was the plan. This was always the plan, and this has been painted several months. And my husband saw me painting it and he went, "That'll go as it is, you don't need to put a transfer on there." Pfft. Don't listen, husbands, what do they know? So it's not sold yet, although I do think it's a lovely classic, very cottagey looking piece. I always wanted to add Blossom Flight. So instead, originally, I can't get the drawer out. It's got an older transfer called Simplicity on the drawer side, but we're just going to leave those on there. If you haven't used Blossom Flight before, it comes in 3 sheets, and it's kind of a repeating pattern, so it does join. You can still cut it up, and that's what we're going to do today. So my main plan is, I'm thinking I want to have, I did something similar on a pink unit with elegance and flowers, and I had quite a bit down here, and then I just had a little bit that came here and kind of wrapped round to that corner. So I'm going to kind of follow that, I think I'm going to follow that pattern. So I'm going to start with the bottom sheet, and I'm just going to see how far over I want my transfer to actually sit. So no one's popped on Facebook and said that my head's being chopped off this week, so I think we're good. Good. So I think I'm going to keep that whole piece. I'm just going to see, because I don't want it to just be a solid block like that. I don't want it to just end. I want it to kind of have a more organic feel to the finish of it. So this is where you have to start thinking about where you're going to cut. So here's my joining pieces. Okay, so I think actually I am going to just trim off this piece here and there, and then I can trim up here. So on this section, still working on the bottom section, I'm just going to trim this branch off and then this branch, so that the piece that will join to that doesn't come off. Bev, what's my Instagram name? I'm Gracie's House, which I'm trying to remember my Instagram is Gracie's_house UK, I think. I really need to memorise that. So I'm just going to chop that bit off. Always keep your scraps, because obviously when I do use that other piece, I can use that later down the line. So keep it. And I'm just going to trim that off. And the great thing about where you've got the branches, and they're very organic and they're very kind of water colour drawn, you can easily cut and it won't notice. So you're not going to miss this branch when you apply it. I'll pop that on there because that's a small piece. Okay, so we're just going to go straight on, stick it on, take your backing sheet off. Everybody okay? I hope everybody's, yeah, I think Catherine, I can see you've just said morning. So I'm going to go here, and I just absolutely love the greens in this beautifully with the green of the cabinet. So I'm lining it up roughly with the bottom of the cabinet, and what I need to do is I just need to get some rubbed down because it's not gonna play games and stay there. So if we can get a bit started, there we go. And I'll do the same over here so that that piece doesn't keep dropping down. I'm going to go like that. Just move my glass of water. I just want to make sure that you can all see what I'm doing. It's looking good. Instagram, I'll have to keep zooming up. Hi from Brazil, thank you. And just seeing if there's any... Oh, don't want that to happen. Luckily, we didn't have any issues there. That has happened to me before, and the bottom sheet is stuck. Some of it's stuck, so you do need to be really careful. Because I'm upright on this piece, I'm going to rub down rather than in an up and down motion. The tip I usually say is, so for lives, I tend to work this way so that everyone can see what I'm doing, and I can see the camera and comments, etc. If you're doing it at home, lay your piece on its back. It's much, much easier. Much easier. Okay, so I have got some gaps to work with here, and just where it the inset in the door. Nothing too tricky to deal with, and we can do that. I've got my craft knife. You can use a box cutter, anything that's got a blade. If you've got sharp scissors, you can use your scissor blade. None of that should be too much of an issue today, but I will be showing you how to deal with those. You could cut yourself separate sections and apply them separately if you wanted to. If you feel a bit overwhelmed as a whole piece project right this minute, you know, if it's one of your first, you can cut those pieces up. Okay, so I'm just going to run my blade down through the where my door meets the frame, and then in a minute we can fold that around the edge. I'm going to do the same along here. So again, I'm just following the line and letting the frame and the door guide me. I'm going to go right up to the edge there, because again we've got a bit of an inset and we've got a hinge, so I'm just going to take it right up to that edge. But that gives us a section to work on. I'm hoping you can all hear me okay. Hi from Paul. Oh, that's Paul down in Dorset. That's near where I grew up. And love the base colour. Yes, this is a custom colour. It's one of the Dixie Belle recipes, so it's called Cactus, and it is a half 50-50 mix of kudzu green and Spanish moss, the mossy one, vintage Spanish moss I think it's called, yeah. So again, it's sort of quite farmhousey, quite organic. What else have we got? Hi from Spain, Flavia. So I've got another door here, so I'm going to do exactly the same. And how is everybody? I've got my workshop doors open. You might be able to hear the birds. We've had some work going on in the background, so you might be able to hear that as well. It's quiet for the minute, but the sun it's spring, guys. It's spring. Awesome. because I've got no transfer here, so I can just cut this piece off. That bit I've got to it. So I'm going to just come back to that piece in a second. So we've got a little bit of twig on the bottom there. Okay. So each transfer tube comes with a tool. Hello, fromage French. Okay. If there is anything in non-English, then I'll have to try and work it out. So here is where there's another, but we've also got like a level difference. So I'm just going to have to run it, and I'm aiming to use this pillar as a guide on this piece. Okay. So we'll just get that in there. That works really nicely. I hope you can hear me reasonably well when I'm not facing the camera. I'm doing my best to talk in a loud voice. So I'm gonna work with this little section, because this isn't joined to any of the rest of it now, so that we can get a little reveal done straight away. Okay. And I always recommend that you continue to rub as you're lifting your top sheet off. You don't want any of it to fold back on itself. And there's always the chance you may have missed a section. Good bone to use this. I know, it's so not. Do you know what? I'd love to use it more. There's so many to choose from, but it is one of the beautiful. I don't think it'll ever get boring to use, and there's so many ways you can put it together. And it looks good on so many background colours as well. So, and then we talk about burnishing. You can use your finger. I also like these microfiber cloths. And when we talk about burnishing, we just talk about rubbing down all those. So you've got the adhesive that kind of goes outside the printed area, and that's what you want. You want to burnish that down. You want to make sure that all that adhesive has a good contact with your piece, and this is what goes a long way to reducing what a lot of people call the halo, which is basically it's the glue, it's the adhesive that flows outside of the print line. Hi from Ukraine, hi from Hudson, Ohio. Hello everybody. So I'm just going to keep working like that basically, and that's how, like I said, if you want to work in sections, it's a really making your slices will enable you to work in smaller sections. So if you do feel a bit daunted, if you're starting out, or if it's your first go, it's a good way to work. And can you see there where it's got a difference in level? So this sticks out more than the door. I've just cut it flush down the side, so there's none to wrap around the corner, but it's just a clean finish there for you. No more questions. Okay, good. I'm going to crack on. Okay, so here I'm now looking at this piece here, and this would work with drawers that have got a frame with an inset. I've got a question there. What's the name of this transfer? This one is called Blossom Flight. So yeah, if you've got a drawer with a frame and an inset, this is a good way to work that out. If you don't want to have to work in all those ridges, this one's easier because it's straight. If you've got all those kind of shaped mouldings, a bit more difficult. But I'm going to basically do the same as I did here. I'm going to cut from this edge Might have to just switch sides for a second because I'm a righty. I'm going to use that edge as a guideline again, and I'm going to go right down to the bottom. I'm going to do the same here. And then I'm going to do the same on that bottom edge as well, if I can get my knife in there. There we go. So I'm going right along that bottom edge, and then that piece will sit into that recess. Just like that. So I'm hoping I wasn't in the way too much while I was doing that. I'm hoping you'll be able to see it. Yeah, do you know what? They're all great. These transfers are awesome. Now you don't need to seal your piece before adding a transfer. Redesign transfers, you do not need to do that. But this piece was sealed purely because I listed it as was, because my husband thought it would sell without a transfer. Not that I loved proving him wrong. I finally got round to sticking Blossom Flight on, which is what I wanted to do all along. He's great for taking stuff to the van. If anyone knows, I'm going to have to remember his name now. We've got a comedian over here in the UK, Mickey Flanagan, and there's a joke about taking stuff to the van. You don't get to drive the van, you just get to take stuff to the van. So this has also got these grooves here. I'm just kind of going over them. Once I've lifted the top sheet for those pieces, I can just push them in. Using my cloth, I will press them in. But I don't want to start wrinkling the application of everything else. So I was saying, wasn't I? So in each transfer tube, you'll transfer, and you also get the stick. I've also got the transfer tool, which is quite handy if you've got, if you want to get into those little creases. It's got shapes on it which help you go around corners and really press into different areas of your piece. And I quite often switch between the two. It's just what feels best on a particular piece that I'm doing at the time. So I've just pulled the door open so that I can fold those little extra bits round. So the little bits of twig that I've got there, they just needed to be folded round. Make sure all the little branch ends and all the little bird feet and things, you just want to make sure they're all set down. What brand of paint is a happy colour? This is a Dixie Belle mixed colour. It's 50-50 kudzu and I think Spanish moss, but it's called Cactus is the recipe colour. Do you seal the transfer after? Yes, you do need to seal the transfers after. You can use wax or you can use a water-based top coat. If you go into the Redesign with Prima group, there's a file section at the top which will give you a whole list of recommended top coats, all different brands. I personally have used Polyvine wax finish varnish. I've used Dixie Belle. We don't recommend that you use Gator Hide because it can affect and lift and cause cracking. If you do want to put it on a piece, if you do want to use gator hide, then at least 2 coats of a satin type finish first, and then gator hide. That has been successful for quite a lot of people. But I also use, currently using Paint Couture top coats. Beautiful finish. Really love the satin finish. That's the one I've been using lately. On nicely. I'll keep moving around. So we're kind of working on this door, the frame section here, and I'm just doing this because I'm going to wrap those bits around the edge. So you can just rub kind of on the diagonal, because what you don't want to do is start lifting any of your paint with your transfer tool, whether that be the stick or the tool itself. There we go. And then when you're lifting your top sheet, just go over again with your finger or your cloth. Some people have used, you know, the little like waxing sponge pads that you get for refinishing your car. They're quite good because they're microfiber as well. Can transfers be applied over the Dixie Belle silk paint line? They can indeed. I have done it. They go on lovely, because although it has a built-in top coat, you still need to seal it, because obviously you're adding the transfer over the top of the paint, but yes, absolutely you can. I hope I'm catching everyone's questions on Instagram. I haven't seen any comments on Facebook, so if there is comments coming in, I can't see them. I will catch up with those afterwards. I'm doing my best to answer anything on Instagram, because as I said, I didn't realise that once it had been posted to Instagram TV, IGTV, you can't go back and reply to comments. So apologies if anyone commented on my last Instagram live and I didn't reply. That was completely, didn't know. Okay. So it's going on really, really nicely. I'm just going to burnish down here. I'm going to make sure all my bits are wrapped around that edge. Oh, I just love this transfer. Hi, who we got there? Stucco Victoria, hello. Okay, I do love this transfer. And when I haven't used it for a while, it makes me smile when I use it again. I'm going to only switch sides. There we go. And of course, because this is a really spring day as well, so it's really nice. You know, the sun's out, the birds are tweeting. I've just got a bit of glue there that I don't want. There we go, let's get rid of that bit. And I'm going to have to open my door and just wrap those edges round on this piece. Oops, that bit didn't stick down. So I've just got a little bit there that didn't transfer over. So I'm just going to reposition. There we go. Okay, tiny bit that's going over the hinge that I'm going to get rid of. Craft knives are one of your best friends when you're applying transfers. I'm just going to scrape that off. I'll do that later. You don't need to see me doing that. And I'm just going to open the door wide to get those other pieces folded in, so that gives you a nice neat finish there. And then we can crack on. I've just seen the best place to purchase a good assortment of transfers. Are there any geometric designs? And I'll come back to that one in just a sec. Name of this transfer is Blossom Flight. Geometric, there isn't really any, no, there isn't anything that I can think of at the top of my head. It is something that I have suggested, so who knows. Best place to get to purchase, Renewed by the Sea. Where are you from? Are you UK? Are you US? Are you anywhere else in the world? There is if you go on the Redesign with Prima website, there's a section to find stores. So that's the best place for you to start. And you can search for online stores or actual bricks and mortar stores that way too. That bit does not want to go down. Sometimes you just need to give it a little bit harder rub. I'm hoping everybody's okay. Hi from Germany on Facebook. Yeah, sometimes one little bit might need. Hi, who we got there? Hi, sorry, I'm trying to read. I probably need glasses. Do you have to cut the transfer between each groove? On this particular one, the grooves aren't very big, so I'm not going to. When I remove my top sheet, I'm just going to use my cloth to push it into those grooves. If your grooves are a bit deeper, you probably would want to, or you'd want to fit it in, do a groove, and then depending, like I said, on how deep your grooves are, because you might get cracking. These are so tiny, it's not going to make a big difference on this one. Oh, it's such a noise, isn't it? Sorry. And thank you for the, was it Michelle? I can see Michelle in the name. Thank you for loving my stuff. Okay, let's start lifting some of this. And always lift your top sheet slowly. I've done it several times. You get all excited, kind of want to rip it off and just see how amazing it looks, and then some of it comes with it, and half of it comes with it, and then that pulls and you're in a mess. Do it slowly, and then if it's not released completely from the top sheet, you can still rub just a little bit more to get it off. Got myself a new stool. It's supposed to help with your posture. Have I got any questions? No. Sorry if it looks weird, but I keep looking and straining to read the camera. It's just making sure that I haven't got any comments that I've missed on Instagram. So this is, essentially this looks like quite a simple project, and it will be effective, and it is simple. We're not layering transfers, it's a one colour finish, it's one transfer, but, there's there's edges, there's creases, there's grooves, there's an inset panel. So we're having to deal with all sorts of things, and each piece of furniture will be different, and you'll often, there's always something. You'll never ever, very rarely, will have a piece of furniture that's completely flush. It just doesn't seem to happen. Oh, hang on, I'm just checking. Oh. No, can't get the comment in. There we go. Sharon, late to the live. What paint colour? Oh, okay. That paint colour is it's a Dixie Belle. I painted it months ago. It's a Dixie Belle recipe called Cactus. So it's half kudzu green and half the moss colour. I can never remember. Okay, so yeah, you know, you're going to be, if you have every single piece of furniture that you ever do in your career or in your house, if you're doing it for yourself, if everything's flat, you are lucky. So lucky. Because there's always something on my pieces anyway that slow me down. I've got lots of these. These are sparrows on this transfer, and I've got loads flittering around my garden at the moment. Gracie loves all of the birds being around. So has anyone used this transfer before? What is the brand of this transfer? We're on the Redesign with Prima page here, so these are all Redesign with Prima products. Elaine, is that Elaine? I think, sorry. I definitely need glasses. I'm from Chile. Where did I get my stool from? Trusty eBay. Do you know what? There's tons. eBay, Amazon. It's more like... I think they have them in salons. It's more like but it's called a saddle stool. It's supposed to make you sit upright. And actually, I've had lower back problems the last few weeks. And I have to say, this arrived yesterday, so today's the first day in the workshop. I'm feeling good today. The back's good. I just realised that I spend so much time on the floor. Like when I do lives, I'm always on the floor. So yeah, I'm so far so good. Loving the stool. Because I have got a little low one that's also on wheels. But I think it's too low actually for me. This one as well can go up higher. I've also got a hydraulic lifting table cover, which is going to be awesome. I've gone a bit glitchy on Facebook, sorry. Not yet purchased from Helen. Oh, Blossom Flight, yes. You just get one because, I mean, for a long time, it was out of stock for ages, everywhere. How pretty! So as I said, you can burnish with your fingertip. The heat from your fingertip will just make sure that everything's stuck down. As I said, I'm just using my cloth and I'm just going to run with my thumbnail down through those grooves just to make sure we've got contact in the groove. If it lifts a little bit, I'm not too fussed, but it's going in quite well. So, as I said, if your grooves are a bit deeper, these really are very, very shallow. If your grooves are a little bit deeper, you might want to cut them so you've got a clean line. It's beautiful colour choice, thank you. It's do you know what, I was just gagging to put this on green. Really wanted to get this transfer Blossom Flight on green, and I love it. So thank you, I'm glad you do too. So I'm just doing this little tiny slither here now. Make sure that's stuck. Yeah. And of course we've got, it's curving around a little bit because we've cut around the edge. So I'm just going to do that with my thumb. So I'm just going to curve round, use my cloth. There we go. So that bit's gone on very nicely as well. So let's just see how we're doing for time. Okay, we could do it. We could get another section done. Let's get this drawer done, and I'm hoping to put the next sheet on as well. So I'm just going to do this part of the panel, exactly the same principles I did on this one. Karen, is it Elvis Parsley? Do you know what? I think Elvis Parsley is probably a little bit mintier than this. This is a piece I painted several months ago, and my husband said, oh, you don't need to put a transfer on there. What does he know? So it's not sold, it gets the transfer. So it's a Dixie Belle recipe. Sorry I'm in your way, guys, but I've just cut here, followed my door line again like I did earlier, and then that will sit into that inset nicely. And you have to remember, you know, the first transfer I did take me time, and some will take you more time than others, for sure. Oh crikey, did anyone watch last week's live? Oh, curves, just all sorts was causing me all sorts of problems. And there'll be some, it'll just don't try and rush it. It's always worth it, because you imagine trying to hand paint all of this. I wish I can paint like this. So I'm just constantly rubbing, constantly lifting that top sheet as I go. And small sections, just make sure that everything's stuck down as you want it. Okay. Just go around that edge with anything that's on the edge. So we've just got that inset to do now. And it's also it's kind of important to have a plan. Hi Ren, it's good to have a plan when you're adding your transfer. It's like when you're layering a transfer, you need to know what your ultimate finished piece you want it to look like. You don't want to have a bigger flower hiding most of a smaller flower unless you want it that way. This one I wanted, this is exactly how I wanted it to fit into those insets. So you need to have a plan on how you're going to deal when you've not got that flat surface. Do I hear cockatiels? Oh, do you know, wouldn't it be lovely if it was cockatiels? No, that's just our wild sparrows and blackbirds and nothing fancy like cockatiels. How lovely would that be though? I wish. Francie, you're late. It is a pretty green. Don't worry about being late. It's we're working with Blossom Flight. This is I painted this piece months ago. It has been top coated, so although you do not need to top coat first, you do not need to seal your paint before adding a Redesign with Prima transfer. If you have a piece that's top coated and then you decide you want to add a transfer later, you don't have to strip that top coat back off of your piece. I know, do you know, I love it now that I can have my workshop doors open. It's so nice. And you can always tell when the sun's out because the birds start. I think the first time I ever used this transfer was the first of my Redesign with Prima projects. No, got all the comments, okay. I can't sit, I'm just going to stand up to finish this piece so that I'm not in the way of it. So this is where the plastic tool might come in handy for you guys. You thought you got a bird or two in your house. It's coming out lovely, isn't it? I'm really pleased. This will just where the edge is finer, you'll be able to get it into those nooks and crannies a little bit more. Makes more noise, don't you think? I think it makes more noise. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just peel a bit there that's caught itself. I'm going to just do those creases. There we go. On that flower down there. Because what you don't want, you want to make sure that all of your transfer has contact. If it doesn't, there's a chance that when you top coat it, if there's any air trapped in there, it can lift it. It is a pretty piece. Thank you, Kelly. What have we got there? Jealous of the bird song. Oh, thank you. What is the name of the paint colour? Wren, it is. It's a Dixie Belle recipe and it's called Cactus, which is a 50-50 mix of sorry, my brain went completely blank then. A 50-50 mix of kudzu and Spanish moss, the mossy one. Yeah. So we're going in with the next sheet, and so here's the piece that I cut off, the branches that we removed. So I'm keeping this one, but what I can do here, you see, is I can just trim to the little birdie here. I think that's what I'm going to... No, I'm not actually. I'm going to cut up here instead. So then I can trim here and go up like that. Yep. Okay. So we're keeping that bird, but I'm going to trim up that branch. Concentrating, cutting. Sorry, I always go quiet when I'm cutting. Okay. And you see, What I'm going to end up with is a piece that I can use over here, just to kind of give it a little frame, like a little kind of corner to corner vignette. Oh, I'm trying. Do you know what? It's tricky to try and answer the questions and work and get like a decent amount of work done. Do my best. So we'll go straight in with the next sheet. How are we doing? About 15 minutes left-ish. So we need to line it up with our, whoops, let's go up to here. Line it up with our previous sections, if you can. That's there. That'll be there, that's fine. Okay. The heat from your hand will often be enough to activate the glue enough to keep your to keep that stuck or start sticking it. It's lovely on the green, isn't it? You've got Fuchsia Sunset. Oh, pretty. I've not used that one yet. Maybe I'll have to dig that one out. So we're doing exactly the same, we're just doing the top of the door. So I'm going to slice down using this as a guide, and then that whole piece will stick to the door. So I'm just going to, I'm trying to do it without getting in the way, but I'm probably not doing a very good job of that. Do it right the way down. Make sure we're still lined up. That is looking good. Okay. Again, I'm just going to use the heat from my hands to get that bit stuck, so I don't have to worry about taping it or sticking it down. You can tape your top sheets. You can tape your top sheets to the thing as long as you trust your paintwork. Okay. Sometimes you'll find that you might start lifting your top sheet and one piece just doesn't want to lift, and it will literally be the very, very, very edge of your transfer. Always concentrate right around the edges when you're trying to start lifting, when you start to lift your top sheet. So all these tiny little pieces that are branches, the little bird legs and beaks and things. One little leaf left. There we go. So again, we're just going to, any tiny little bits, we're just going to wrap around that corner. I'm going to burnish. Now we talk about the halo. I've talked about that at the beginning. Looks lovely. Thank you, Abigail. Yeah, we talked about the halo. If anyone ever sees people talk about the halo, more obvious on darker colours. Much more obvious on darker colours. But I can barely see anything. I mean, I can do a close-up right at the end. Oh, no, I'm not going to, because I can't deal with two cameras. Two phones, two devices. But burnishing well does go a long way to stopping that that appearance of the halo. So I'm going to do the same as we did down below. I'm going to run my knife right down using the edge as a guide. And across there. There we go. So that sits in. Whoops, that bit's not quite. There we go. So that then sits in. I just want to make sure I'm all still lined up with my branches. Yes, I am. Good, good. We might just get this section finished, I think, guys, before I have to sign off. And then next time you see it, it'll be all finished. Oh, do you know, I'm getting hot in here. When the sun gets onto my workshop, it doesn't take long before it warms up. There we go. Next, they must have been on lunch break at work. We're next door. Why do you cut before you burnish? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, you mean why did I cut here? So I'm rubbing each section. This is an inset panel. I don't know if you've been with us from the beginning. So there's an inset. So I've had to cut so that that piece sits in where I want it to. So the rubbing here is burnishing, but we also burnish once we've taken the top sheet off. I hope that's what you mean. So those of you on Instagram, if you haven't already, I couldn't work out how to write all the comments in Instagram. What tool am I using? Ren, this is just like a big popsicle stick. This one comes in with your transfer tube, and then the plastic one is also available with your Redesign with Prima retailers. And that just, there's a little bit more, kind of more detail, and it's a bit thinner than the stick, but I use both, to be honest. What was I saying? Yes, so those of you on Instagram, if you haven't already, if you can pop over and follow me, that would be awesome. So I'm pretty sure it's Gracie's _house UK, I think. Oh, but it's Gracie's House UK. And on Facebook, if you haven't already, do the same. Do you know what? You could go over to Instagram and follow me too. That would be great. Again, there's some links on Facebook. I couldn't work out how to put the comments in the description for the live on Instagram. I might have to. It came up with a title and it wouldn't let me add anything. We're trying. But yeah, so there's a link for you to find a retailer, and that's bricks and mortar or online. There's also a link, and this is on Facebook, guys. Sorry, Instagram, you'll miss out on this. There's also a link if you want to buy through my affiliate link. I've got one for the two different ones, one for American customers and one for UK customers. I'm just opening up again to fold those pieces round on the inside edge of my door to give a neat finish. Around this hinge, like I did earlier, I shall just scrape that off with a craft knife. Missed what I said I sealed it with. Okay, so I will seal this one. We'll have paint couture. I'm using paint couture at the moment. The satin is the satin top coat is to die for. But if you go on to the Redesign with Prima group on Facebook, there's a file section, and you can go up the top into the file section. It gives you a whole recommended list of water-based varnish type products, top coats, and also waxes you can use. Waxes are particularly good if you're putting transfers onto leather or clothing, stuff like that. Or if you're a waxy girl. Some people don't like, some people much prefer using wax. Wax is fine. You can apply these transfers to mirrors, glass, people put them on windows. They don't need sealing if you're doing glass, but obviously be mindful that they're more for a decorative piece rather than a tabletop. Because you don't need to, because you can't, the glass would go cloudy. No worries, Ren. You're welcome. I think we're just about going to get this piece off, and then I'm done. So this is where we cut our branch. Can you tell? You're quite far away, I admit. Shabby Dabby do I have a YouTube channel? Yes, I do. Gracie's House. Yeah, Gracie's House. I can't even remember if it's got a UK on it. But look, search for Gracie's House. I'm sure I'll be there. So yeah, that's where I cut. There's a section that would have grown out of here and carried on as being the kind of all over. Answered, okay. So the details in this transfer are stunning. In all of them. They're always, all of them are stunning, to be fair. So this just goes to show, these things do take time. Admittedly, it takes me longer because I'm talking to you and answering things, but these things do take time. Some of them will go really quickly, as I said, if you're dealing with a completely flat surface, much easier to deal with. But if you can break it into these sections like we've done today, it's a really good way of making it manageable. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Do you know what? I wish I'd have done this months ago, like I planned. Exactly like I planned. I don't know why I listen to him. He's not creative. One of your favourites, lovely. Do you know what? Oh, it just makes you smile, doesn't it? It really, I haven't used it in a while, and it's making me smile again. Not that I was grumpy, but you know what I mean? Not gonna lie, last week was flustering me. The curves, they flustered me. Little tiny bit in there. Have to get the other one in there. There we go. Oh, bit of leaf. Just want to get that bit on. Ta-da! Yay! Wow, look at that. 2 o'clock. Boom. So I've got another little piece that I'm going to put here. I'll have to plan that. But just to show you. So I shall just, do you know what I'm going to do? All I'm going to do is just cut that piece there. I haven't got room. I don't want to cut the bird's head off. So again, it's just planning ahead. It was like it was meant to be. So I'll cut that branch off there, and it will just be that tiny piece that we add onto the top. And then I will add a little tiny piece here, just to create kind of a bit of a frame. Is there anything else? Daysville. Oh yeah, we spoke. Teresa, the curves. Do you know what? I don't even know if I want to talk about the curves. Joan, hi Joan. Sorry I missed you coming on. Yeah, do you know what? It looks so much better with that on it. Do you know, it will be really interesting. I do hope it sells quickly now. Anyway guys, thanks for joining me. I hope this has been an informative hour for you. Working with one of my favourites, and it has made me smile, so this is good. Today's a good day. The sun is shining. I hope you have a fantastic day. For me, it's just turning 2 o'clock, so I think for a lot of you over in the US, it's kind of around the 9 o'clock in the morning time. So you're just starting your days, and I hope you have a fantastic one. Thanks for joining me. This is my slot. I'll be here this time next week. Instagram, I will probably see you again this time next week too. And drop me some love on the page. And if you're watching on replay, just drop me a hashtag replay in the comments. Awesome. Thanks guys. Bye. How do I turn it off?